We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
I'm so happy we're here. Getting emotional. So right away, I want to say I love us. I am so happy to be our purpose. Awakening Together is a universal assembly of peers dedicated to recognizing and embracing universal wisdom, regardless of the form in which it appears. We are also dedicated to recognizing the ways we deny universal wisdom by adopting personal beliefs and biases. We want to recognize these limitations so we can free ourselves from them and open to the continuous flow of universal wisdom. For the purpose of today's gathering, I have chosen core value, or core value number 5 has been chosen. We accept all forms as temporary appearances permitted through enduring awareness of self. We live this value by honoring all appearances and all experiences while continually reflecting on changeless truth. There are tears in my eyes. Lately, there have been tears in my eyes a lot. I have no clue what I'm going to say today. How awesome is that? And I know I'm not supposed to, according to this, I'm not giving the formal invocation till after the opening chant, or the opening song. That said, anyone who's listening to me either in this Sunday now or whenever you might be listening to the replay, whether you're here or on the radio, wherever you are, I just invite you to join me in the not knowing, in the letting go of attempting to understand, in the acceptance that whatever called us into this present moment now, whether we recognize it or not, whether we're experiencing it or not, that it is love, that it is joy, that it is happiness, that it desires, that's not the right word, that it's taking care of us until the moment where we recognize and are ready to drop the moniker of us and return back into the one. Yeah. And this first song, the decision and the decisions and joining in the decision of this first song helps open the door to just that. How's that for an invocation? Yeah. So, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I am. I don't know why I am. I trust. I trust the Creator. I trust consciousness. I trust the Tao has brought all of us seemingly individual beings from all over the world into this moment right now. Furthermore, I actively and consciously step back. I ask as best as it is possible that Cyndi's conditioned mind and Cyndi's story not interfere with the potential for direct experience for each and everyone who is present in this moment. I ask only that truth be served. And I am so grateful for whatever role I get to play in that. This is so fascinating. So just today was not my scheduled time. If anyone shows up, and for all of us who show up every week, I feels like I was just here yesterday. But an email went out about a week ago and said, "Hey, I can't do this. Can someone who was scheduled for June? I was scheduled for June 25th. Switch places." And when I saw that email, it was interesting because I got real quiet and I said, "Whatever serves." And then I sent a reply, "If I can be of service." So that was step one. And it was only about a week ago. Step two was I was given a name. I said, "Hey, Rona, will you read?" And she said, "Yes." What? And I said, "I have no idea." But she said yes anyway. And then I was told what the reading was, and my inner voice, the mind, said no, just like that. No. People who have been in Awakening Together have heard this reading over and over and over again. Anyone who's done gentle healing, anyone who has been studying with Regina has heard this reading, and somehow the mind said, "Give me something new." And then what happened was nothing for 2 days, literally nothing. And then I was given the reading again, and it was the same reading. And I said, okay, I don't know why we resist truth. I don't know why that happens. And so, and I'm crying again because the net result is I've got to spend time with a reading I thought I knew and now realize I didn't know. And every time I work with it, it's brand new. And so as I hand things over to Rona and ask her, and here's the other great gift is that Rona hadn't read Inner Ramana for her. So she had no misperceptions that she already knew the reading, which is awesome. So whether you've heard this reading in your linear time sense, the invitation is to let go of anything you think you know about the meadow and the circus, or about the only places where about Inner Ramana. Just let go and invite yourself to listen with the Holy Spirit or inner wisdom of truth, and invite it to inform you. You know, what is most useful here for you right now? Rona, thank you for agreeing to read. The floor is yours.
Thank you for asking, Cyndi. Yeah, I just got my copy of Inner Ramana on Thursday. Thank you for the opportunity. The first reading is from The Circus and the Meadow. The mind is very active. If you watch it, you will see it is much like acrobats in a circus. It is always jumping this way and that, bending and turning, and it has some very amazing moves, but it is a circus. It is not at all representative of reality. In fact, it is a complete distraction from reality. You will never notice reality if you remain focused on the circus act of the mind. So now our primary interest is to lose interest in the mind. It is very tempting to pay attention to it, just as a great circus act catches the desire of your attention. But deep within you, there is a desire that wants to settle within the meadows that surround the circus tent more than you want to be caught up in the circus. So we are turning our attention from the ups and downs and spins and tumbles of the mind to the everlasting tranquility of the meadows. And there is much happening in the meadows too, but it is real, which is much different. than the circus. True stillness cannot be achieved by quieting the mind through meditative practices for part of the day, then being wrapped up in the stories of the mind the rest of the day. This is like running in and out of the circus. Sure, you may experience and know the tranquility of the meadow, but you are still addicted to the hype of the circus. The circus remains real for you. You will never be free through partial abidance. Only total abidance can be totally freeing. The mind is going to want to think. You are going to be drawn back into the circus. But an inner response to this desire, as soon as you notice it, is most helpful to awakening. The inner response is one that turns your attention from the noise of the circus to the quiet love for the meadow. This is the purpose of the mantra I have given you. It consistently and repeatedly throughout the day turns your attention from the circus and back toward the meadow, which is your truest of desires. Wear the mantra like a layer of clothing. Practice it throughout the day. Whatever you are doing, the mantra cannot be practiced too much, as we are teaching the mind through desire to remain still. Surrender is a means of living within the world while releasing your attachment to the circus. The body remains, as do the senses of sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch. In this way, interaction with the world is non-avoidable as long as the image of the world remains in the mind. Attachment to the world continues to build the image of the world and all of the false concepts it represents. Non-attachment through surrender releases the world within the mind, which allows a slowing of its images and a fading of illusion from sight. Attachment keeps the world going. The circus is in full swing. Non-attachment lets it fade until only the meadows remain. Sitting with me for hours each day is also helpful because my presence and my certainty strengthen your resolve. In this way, I ask you to be my student. When the mind is not occupied in the silence of the mantra, let it be used for the purpose of surrender. This way, the mind is always used purposefully, and one's toes will wiggle and curl delightfully as they feel the coolness of the meadow's ground beneath them. Surrender of the common practices of the day, such as what to eat and what to wear, when to sleep, what to say and when to speak. Surrender of such practices is letting go of ego, because ego indulges itself, its sense of self, through ordinary practices such as these. Even after following a practice of surrender, mind will want to think about that practice. It will want to be proud for listening and following, or it will want to analyze the meaning of the act you are guided to follow, or it will want to imagine the results, the impact, or the next step. All of this is returning to the circus. So when you see the mind acting in this way, practice the mantra to return the mind to the meadow. Question for the inner teacher. What do I do with this strong resistance to the practices you are asking me to keep? Answer. Understand that all resistance comes from your willingness to listen to resistance before. It is an echo from the past that is being picked up and heard now. To listen to it again is like shouting into a cave again. The echo will only return. One may stand at the mouth of the cave and shout at his own echo forever, and the echo will not die. It will only return more frequently And if his shouts get louder, the echo will grow louder too. The way to end the feeling of resistance is to stop shouting into the cave. Be gentle with yourself. When you are feeling resistance, quietly and gently practice the mantra anyway. This practice will not hurt you. And because you are passing on the temptation to shout into the cave, the echoes are beginning to die, and practice will come more easily in the future. The second reading is entitled, The Only Choice is Where. The truth is that all thought rises out of the sense of I or because of the sense of I as a correction to this thought. The state of true being precedes thought. Therefore, it is before thought, beyond thought, and after thought. It is no thought, and it scares you, seems to be death or nothingness to you, because you are identified with thought. This is why people struggle against the idea so much. They believe the idea, I think, therefore I am, which would mean that not to think would be to cease to exist. But this is not true. Thought springs forth from existence. Existence is the birthplace of thought. Existence is not dependent on thought, and it has never been. The idea I decide is an error. You choose to engage in the belief in thought, or you choose to observe thought without being engaged, or you choose to abide in self completely and leave thought behind. But you do not decide what the thought will be. Your choice is where, but not what. What is already in motion, but where you shall be while what does its thing is completely up to you, because the states of awareness are always available, always there for your choosing, no matter what is in the current moment. This is why knowing your heart is your only business. You do not decide what, so there is nothing about what that must be decided. You only choose where to be as what occurs. And where you want to be is not a question. You know where you want to be. Choose to be there, and you have complete alignment of will. Be aware that the only choice is where, and make that choice in the moment according to the decision of the heart.
Chills, Rona. Hair is standing up on my arm. Thank you so much. So, first a question. There's no wrong answer. But why are you here? Decision was made, to click a couple of buttons and to be here, whether it's live, whatever that means, or taking time to spend with the replay. Just go ahead and allow yourself to breathe into that question. Is it the desire of your heart that brought you here? Do you know what the desire of your heart is? The fun thing is, it doesn't really matter. You're here. And just the simple fact that you're here, either in this Zoom room on Sunday, May 7th, or listening on a replay, means that your heart is calling you to a new experience. That's it. So that's number one. The second thing I am inspired to remind us all of, no matter what happens next, is the statement, do the best you can and the best gets better. I know that my imposter self, this imposter self or ego or self-referencing I program, and many of the programs of people that I love and spend time with like to judge themselves relative to what they do and where they are and what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to be and all that stuff. And go ahead and allow, well, you can't stop it from happening if it's happening. And it doesn't come from truth. The only thing we're invited to do is to rest here, do the best we can, and our best gets better. The other part of that, which is also pretty cool, whether you believe it or not, belief has very little to do with it. That's all you've ever done. In every now moment, you've only ever done the best you were capable of doing in that moment. And as a result, well, you find yourself here. Now, in this moment, doing the best that we can do. Somehow, consciously or not, trusting that as we do that, our best gets better. The next thing, and again, so much of this appears to be just a way of relaxing the conditioned mind, the part of us, and I see it in my mind right now. Am I doing a good job? You know, am I communicating a message that is supposed to be communicated ad nausea? It appears the possibility exists that these words are now being spoken to just quiet that, just soften the judgmental mind or the comparing mind or the mind that's trying to understand. The truth is there isn't anything to understand, and there's nothing new that is going to be expressed in this space right now. There's nothing new. Isn't it amazing how so much of our time is spent studying the scripture, the words of sages that are no longer in a body? Their words aren't new. None of these teachings are new. More than that, the more I seem to let go of knowing anything, or the more I seem to let go of thinking the answer exists outside of the mind in the circus somewhere, the more I recognize that the teachings are simple. They're simple. It's not a matter of learning something new. It's really just a matter of, to the best of our ability, choosing the truth in any given moment, choosing to do the best we can in this moment, knowing that our best will get better. So there isn't anything new. If anything, all we're really, the greatest desire right now over, the next 40, 30, whatever minutes are left, is that we're marinating in the quietness, the peace, the truth, and we're allowing it to inform us, or allowing it to perhaps dissolve some of those blocks / beliefs / things we think we need to fix about ourselves, so that we can someday know what Regina knows, or be awakened like the sages are, though at least for me, I don't know about you, there's still this belief that that someday will never happen, which is kind of insane, right? It's sort of really insane to think that what I am is Cyndi, separate from Source. It can't be true, yeah? Because Source is what animates me. I'm also speaking through I didn't want to call it an upset. It's more true to call it turbulent waters. And I know that that's a good thing, right? The sense of a body has all sorts of inner stuff going on right now, has been for a couple of days. In the meadow, things are still and peaceful and beautiful, and the birds sing, and the leaves are so beautiful, and the sky is so blue. And just like the reading reminds us, the mind that tells us that the meadow is boring is a liar. It's a liar. Now, every time I say it's a liar, I hear David Hawkins in my mind, but that's okay. The meadow is more entertaining than the circus. Mind disagrees. The mind always needs the next thing to entertain it, right? It's very important that the mind keeps us busy and active and looking to a world that was actually created by the mind to make sure we keep looking, which is fun. Over the last couple of weeks, appears to be, though I don't trust it, it appears to be what has created this beautiful turbulence. Over the last couple of weeks, from a number of sources, I've been asked, what do I want? Cyndi, asked, what do I want, in a way that did not allow me to simply say, I want truth realization. Said, no. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Like, what do you want? How do you want to experience the world right now? And that question created a lot of fear. There's a story running that whenever Cyndi looks at what Cyndi wants, Cyndi gets disappointed, or Cyndi makes a mistake, or Cyndi is told she can't have that, right? It's been an interesting dynamic. So I got to this point where I said, all right, you want to know what I want? I want a partner. I want to be half of a pair, right? I want someone to take walks with and hold hands with and have a meal with, someone to discuss these things with in the same room. I want to be half of a Glenn and Yolanda, to speak directly to what I see. Look, I see the hands, right? And there's tears. So that want is there. So then the next question comes, well, why do you want it? Why do you want that? Boy, that burns a little. So it's beautiful when the answer arises. Well, I don't want to be lonely. And then the three words that came as a result of that was, I don't want to be lonely, isolated. I don't want to hide in here anymore. Whatever truth is still working on this, right? And I didn't know I was going to talk about this until Rona was reading, and I started taking notes, which is very, very cool. because it's out of my hands. I realize that all of this is out of Cyndi's hands. So how cool is that? So what I saw at that point, and what I'm continuing to see, is that there is a belief in loneliness, isolation, and there is an acceptance that those things are happening because there's something hiding in the mind. And I've been sitting and allowing truth to work on all of these things, right? And as a result, over and over and over again, what I've been hearing in my mind is so cool, actually, the way all this comes together, right? Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. Simple. I repeat the Course Miracles workbook lessons every day, right? Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. From that space, it becomes really obvious in this space that the story of Cyndi, regardless of how many people have been in her life, whenever Cyndi thinks about Cyndi, there's a sense of loneliness, isolation, and hiding. As long as there's a belief that this mind, separate from the minds in all of those places, exist, I am alone. I am isolated. I am lonely. I am hiding in here. I don't want you to see. I don't want you to know what's being thought. I don't want to know what you think about me. So somehow there's a deepening into the acceptance that loneliness, isolation, hiding, all of that isn't true. Even believing it is part of the circus, right? I know it's landing because there's this wild sense of nausea happening in this body. Because what is this body when one fully, truly sees that? All right, so I accept that. And then I'm looking at this workbook lesson that keeps coming up over and over and over again as I sit. And part of sitting, by the way, has been experiencing intense sensations that one would identify as loneliness. And every once in a while, the visual, I see the squidding. I don't know how other people hit these different blocks, but it's like I'm fine. And then this sensation overwhelms me, sort of like a squid who feels like it has to defend itself, shoots out this black ink so it could get away. So I call these experiences squidding experiences. So there are these waves of what is identified as loneliness that fills me, and trusting that what I want is the meadow, not the circus, trusting the Tao more than the Cyndi story, as much as the mind says, you don't have to do this. Call this person, reach out to that person. Rona's even said, I'm always here, just call, whatever, it doesn't matter. There could have been a dozen worldly ways to quell that experience. And I sat with it. And sitting with it, forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. The next step is, well, what is forgiveness? So many of us, me anyway, speaking only from this point of viewing, has always looked at forgiveness, even though, the Course in Miracles definition, right, is forgiveness lets me know that what I thought my brother did to me never happened. All of a sudden I'm being told forgiveness is just recognizing that the only moment that exists is this one. So nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happened. There is nobody out there that could ever heal the pain in here, because there is no in here separate from out there. Out there is a projection of thoughts believed by consciousness. You would think that would be enough. This past week, all of this has occurred. I don't know. Linear time is a very strange thing for me. Yesterday, I got into my car for what I swore was a 12-minute drive. I turned on a podcast and that was supposed to be 20 minutes long. Anthony DeLulo, or whatever his name is, because now I can't even remember, was talking about the definition of presence. It was a 20-minute long podcast. I took a 12-minute ride. When I got to the end of the 12 minutes, the podcast was over. Tell me how that happens. It blew me away to the point where I was like, maybe I'm losing my mind. Maybe this isn't a 12-minute ride. So I didn't listen to the podcast going back. And I was aware of the time. And I got caught in traffic and 2 red lights, and it took 15 minutes. And the mind's having a hard time letting that go. And yet, all I can conclude with the engineer's mind is that it's proof that linear time is part of the illusion, which should and does inform everything else. Over and over and over again, when I get real quiet and hang in the meadow as best as I can, choose the where, choose the where, choose the where, choosing to be as best as I can in truth, not believing the crazy thoughts that are coming and going in the mind, like the one yesterday that said, well, Cyndi, you could just get sick and not do this homily. I don't even know where that came from. Like, where did that come from? Except that the circus part of the mind didn't want this to flow through me. That's it. That's it. Over and over and over again. And I don't know, because there is, well, speaking to the one mind, there is the meadow. There is the beauty of just being without the self-referencing I speaking and distorting and diluting. Just resting here without thinking. That's all it really is, right? We don't have to figure it out. All that's really required is letting go of the thinking mind. It's beautiful. That's the meadow. And then the mind keeps thinking anyway. But it just, I heard it somewhere, maybe someone remembers, it's like one of those tops that you pull. And then it knows that all it needs for me to do is to pay attention to it and to believe it for a while, and then it can keep spinning. But its only purpose is to spin. I don't know what other purpose it has. So hang in the meadow. And I knew coming here today, and this is probably why it was so scary. There were no new songs. There was no new reading. There was no new teaching. There's no Cyndi proving that she's something special. It's the opposite. I have nothing. And doesn't that come with holy empty hands? Just an increased desire to know that Cindy's just a wave in the sea of consciousness, which is extraordinary because it means that all I'm looking at right now are other waves. And I can see as I'm looking through these eyes at all these other waves that there's still believing attention happening that I'm a me and you're a you. But it can't be true. Because if it was true, then my drive yesterday would have taken 12 minutes and there would have been 8 minutes left of that podcast. There's one more thing coming up to share, and then we get to listen to another song. Other than, I'm really just so happy. I recognize that the path we're on is a very gentle, loving one. It really doesn't matter what the circus is telling you about your pain or your suffering or the problems or your bank account or your relationship or your physical health. We all have those stories. Just the fact that we're here in this room, in this vibrational space, with this intention, marinating in the truth, not alone in the circus of our mind, but with each other, is proof positive that our path is a gentle one, that we're being taken care of, that life is very, very good. So here's the completely random teaching that I heard probably 20 years ago, and I can't even remember. I don't remember her name. It was fairly early on path, and maybe I'm making it all up. Maybe it's coming from something else. But the term that I heard that has been very useful in informing me and helping me stand still when the energy is turning the way it is right now is quantum monogamy. And what she stated, and here's the way she said, suppose you're in this unhealthy relationship with Pete, and he's really very abusive. And you could call Pete the world out there, right? You're feeling victimized and attacked by the world out there, which could be this body, it could be whatever. You're in this relationship with Pete. And you now are seeing that you no longer want this relationship. And you take the first steps to step out, because you don't want that relationship with Pete. You want to be one with Adam, whoever that is. You want this relationship with this beautiful, loving, beloved who will see the God in you and know the truth of you and help you celebrate your life. Step one is to step away from Pete. Only because we're still hanging out in this worldly form of linear time, there is some time involved in disentangling from Pete, unwrapping ourselves from Pete, right? We can't, it just doesn't happen with the thought, Rupert, I believe it's the same teaching, Rupert talks about turning off the ceiling fan, and it takes a while for the fan to stop. And if we believe it's not working, we'll end up using our believing intention and turning the fan on. It's quantum monogamy is the same thing. We're saying no more Pete. And we take these first steps to step away from Pete. Not only does Pete continue to show up as experiences, there's also this addictive pull to go back to what we've known. And that's the interesting space where so many of us get stuck, right? And that's sort of in this space that I'm feeling right now, where I'm being invited to just hang in the meadow. We're all being invited to hang in the meadow. Only the Cyndi mind and all the circus and the gymnastics and everything that's spinning feels like me. It feels addictive. The pull feels strong. Only I don't want the circus anymore. And so the invitation in this quantum monogamy is just recognizing that the more we can hang out in the discomfort of not knowing, the more Pete dissolves in us. The desire for Pete, the addiction to Pete, the belief in Pete. And once he's gone, Adam will arise, or whatever the new thing is. The other part of it, the world I see holds nothing that I want. Beyond the world I see, there is the world I want. It's impossible to see two worlds. As long as you're believing in Pete, believing in the circus, we can trust and have faith in this other world. But we're not going to embody it because they live on two different planes. This next song, so I don't know why this next song works the way it does on me. I often invite people that I work with to simply play it on repeat. Just play it on repeat. It's an incantation. And I've been doing it off and on for years. I listen to it often. And in the midst of all this stuff that's been going on that I've been talking about, every once in a while you wake up at 2:00 in the morning, at 3:00 in the morning, and the mind is often spinning. It's playing in the circus, and you can tell yourself that you don't have the choice to pull away from it, right? What I've noticed in the decision to listen to this song over and over and over again, that when I woke up at 3:00 in the morning, there was one day this week that I woke up at 1, and I woke up at 2:15, and I woke up at 4. This song was what was playing in my mind, and I'd listen to it for a while, and then I fall right back to sleep. Also, Sina's going to post a link. We are a church. We are a church. And so if you feel within your heart to donate, you could use the little square, the donate here to support, or follow the link that Sina's going to post. And Sina, please, a beautiful day. Thank you. All right. So there is another song queued up. That being said, this is the time where the room is open for anyone who wishes to say anything at all while the recording is still going on. Yeah. Silence is beautiful. This other song is, I don't know if Glenn's still listening. I think it's Marshall Rosenberg is his name. I got his name right. One of the founders of nonviolent communication. Yeah, thank you. The name of the song is See Me Beautiful. And all three of these songs that we played tonight are really part of this same invitation to step away from the circus, step away from all the beliefs and the thoughts that really do nothing other than limit our experience of the truth. Why don't we, invitation remains open for anyone who'd like to share. Earlier this week, I we have a place about 15 minutes from here called the Asian Market. Oh, Ruby, go for it, please.
Yes. Okay. I was going back and forth about saying anything because this was really kind of personal. About 2 days ago, 3 days ago, it was 5/7, 5/7, 5/8. So that wasn't, I had this thought, and I'm doing the Inner Ramana. So thank you very much. And the other thing about the metal thing, I skipped that for some reason. So I'm going to go back. I listened to you, and I'm seeing it quite different. But I skipped that one session because I was avoiding something in it. So anyway, maybe it'll come to me later. But anyway, I wanted to, a thought came to me, and the thought was, I want a partner and a friend. Okay, I have a partner and a friend. And my partner is George, and we've been married for quite a while. Had a little divorce and came back. But this idea just came up. And he's been reading our old cards because his birthday just came up. And to make this brief, I got 3 minutes. His birthday came up, and he read a card back in 1998 about him being a partner and a friend. So I'd say around that. So this was kind of puzzling. I have a partner. We eat dinner together, thanks to Shauna and to someone that introduced us to HelloFresh. So we make our meals together. And we talk about some spiritual things together because he's doing his own thing. So I did my Inner Ramana suggestion. It said, okay, I got 2 minutes. Thought, I want to have a partner and a friend. Who is the I that wants to have a partner and a friend? And for the life of me, I cannot find the I. Every time I do this, I'm still looking for the I, just in case it'll show up. There's no I. And then I say me. Well, it's me. Is there a me? And there's no really me because it just doesn't make sense. But what comes up for me is the me and the I is the mind every single time. The me and the I is the mind. So I asked, who am I? And what came up? It said, why is that important? And it was about the idea. I don't want to be alone. Okay, go figure. What is wrong with being alone? And then immediately I had this fear that came up. Fear is a thought. This is what was coming up for me. There's a fear I will disappear. My job is to exist. Now, these are just thoughts that are coming into my mind. Some are definitely from the Holy Spirit, and I am and some are coming from the left mind and the right mind, but they're very obvious to me which ones are which. I will disappear. It is my job to exist. Who is here now? Now, I've been doing this here, who is here now, all the time. And when I'm at here, who am I here now? Everything is peaceful. So it said, who is here now? So I could sit still and who is here now? And then it asked me, alone? Am I alone? No, absolutely. When I am here now, there is no sense of aloneness, no sense. It's just peace. I can say it's peace. So that's very interesting because I do have a partner and a friend, and I still thought I didn't have a partner and friend. So I am thinking that is coming from the one mind. So I just wanted to share that with you. And by the way, another thing came up. Oh, it's late. I'll go ahead. Thank you very much.
Just hang out and finish after the recording stops. Sina, it's all yours. I love us.
Been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.